Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving right into the foundational concepts of gender studies. We'll be looking at a fascinating university lecture that breaks down the super complex ways we interact, build societies, and ultimately understand ourselves. If you've ever wondered how an entire academic discipline maps out everything from the colors we wear to global economics, you are in exactly the right place.
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Defining gender in society. 2. The complete syllabus overview. 3. Evolution and multidisciplinary nature. And 4. The autonomy versus integration debate. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. Defining Gender and Society.
To kick things off, we really have to draw a line between biological reality and social expectation. The World Health Organization makes this super clear. While biology is, a physical reality, gender actually refers to the socially constructed characteristics, roles, and relationships that get assigned to different groups. It's all about the socio-cultural context. It exists not just as a strict binary, but as a continuum reflecting everybody in a society.
This perfectly leads us to a really brilliant, famous quote by theorist Judith Butler. Gender is what we perform. Think of it literally like a script. Gender is less about your inherent biological makeup and way more about how you act within the expectations that society hands to you. It is a role we step into every single day.
And because of that performance, we live in a heavily gendered world. Just look around at how society categorizes pretty much every facet of our daily lives. Think about it. Pink for girls, blue for boys, right? Who's expected to do the laundry versus who's expected to aggressively negotiate a salary. These invisible rules dictate our physical spaces, our career paths, and even how we're allowed to express our emotions. Gender studies exist to investigate and ultimately correct the imbalances all of this creates. Now, when these daily stereotypes solidify into actual systemic inequality, we run into concepts like patriarchy. The literal translation is rule of the father. But in gender studies, patriarchy is the social system where men dominate in contexts like family structures, the economy, politics, and education. It's this overarching ideological framework that unfortunately results in very real discrimination and unequal divisions of labor. Okay, moving on to part 2, the complete syllabus overview. So, you might be wondering, how does a university actually teach you to deconstruct all of that? Well, any good course has to lay down a solid theoretical foundation first. The first 3 parts of this syllabus do exactly that. It starts by introducing the field's status, and then it unpacks the social construction of gender, diving into massive debates like nature versus nurture, as well as queer theory. Then, Part 3 equips students with a map of feminist theories, ranging from liberal and radical frameworks all the way to Marxist and postmodern ones.
Once that foundation is set, the curriculum pivots straight into history and economics. Part 4 tracks global feminist movements across time, from the classic Western waves to specific movements right within Pakistan. After that, Part 5 zooms way out to look at gender and development. It takes a hard, critical look at globalization, capitalism, and how international development approaches have evolved to include, or in some cases completely fail, women.
Finally, the syllabus grounds those massive global theories into localized, on-the-ground reality. Parts 6 through 8 focus deeply on Pakistan, examining the everyday status of women in health, education, and the law. It explores the super complex role of gender in governance and political quotas. And lastly, it tackles gender-based violence through powerful real-world case studies like Mukhtar Mai and Malala Yousafzai. This really moves the subject from the quiet classroom straight into the global headlines.
Part 3. Evolution and multidisciplinary nature.
So how did this massive field actually come together in the first place? Well, it was a truly global journey. The discipline originally grew out of women's studies alongside second-wave feminism in the 1960s, with the US designing the very first courses. By the 70s, it hit San Diego University, reached the UK's University of Kent in the 80s, and just kept expanding globally until formal institutes opened up across Pakistan in the mid to late 1990s.
Now, there is a totally crucial distinction here that often causes some confusion: women's studies versus gender studies. Women's studies actually emerged first, focusing specifically on female identity, women-related issues, and their rights. Gender studies, on the other hand, evolved as a broader, much more holistic field. It addresses the struggles of all genders. And yes, that absolutely includes men and LGBTQ individuals, with the ultimate goal of overcoming social differences entirely.
Because gender studies investigates the whole scope of human experience, it is inherently multidisciplinary. You literally cannot understand gender without looking through the lens of literature, geography, sociology, law, and human development. It borrows from and deeply influences all of these fields to try and find practical, solution-oriented answers to society's biggest questions.
Which brings us to part 4, the autonomy versus integration debate.
Because the field touches so many other subjects, it actually creates a really fascinating structural problem for universities themselves. This sparked a major academic debate back in 1982, initiated by the National Women's Suffrage Association. The core question is this: should gender studies be its own independent, standalone department, or should it be merged right into existing subjects like sociology and economics?
It really is a debate of pure strategy. On one side, you have the separatists advocating for autonomy. They argue that keeping gender studies totally independent is absolutely essential to generate completely new knowledge, without other disciplines watering down their specific goals. But on the other side, integrationists argue for embedding gender studies as a subfield into those major disciplines. Their reasoning is purely practical. They believe that injecting gender perspectives directly into fields like economics and law is the absolute best way to cajole policymakers into making real-world changes. It's a profound question about how we best apply academic knowledge to real life. So, based on everything we have unpacked in this explainer today, from the social construction of our daily lives all the way up to global macroeconomics, we're going to leave you with this final thought. Is the future of gender studies more powerful as a standalone fortress of knowledge protecting its distinct goals, or is it more powerful as a framework perfectly integrated into every single corner of academia, directly driving broader real-world change? Let that sink in. Thanks for joining this explainer, and keep questioning the structures around you.